Well, the 5th of July didn't bring about the end of the world, but our 好记者 prophecy actually came true. And for some, this is the end of the world. Elon Musk founded the America Party, officially parting ways with Trump.
First time?
In the past 50 years of American history, nearly every attempt to create a third party has failed miserably. 但这一次好像有一点不一样哦。So today, 猎黑北北 at 好汽车 is gonna make another prophecy. Elon Musk 好像很会成功哦。And if he really does, well, 我们台湾人我们要准备哦，因为真的是代际多了。为什么每次都要花很多时间把这个摊吗？So about 7 months ago, when Elon and Trump were still enjoying their honeymoon phase, preparing to launch the Department of Government Efficiency, we put out a video. And that ending, whoo. So now Elon wields the power to cut budgets and also influence Trump's unofficial cabinet picks, posting to a platform he owns in order to influence policy and legislation. And just like Trump, my man loves social media.
Sources close to Trump tell the New York Post the president-elect is, quote, 100% serious about the United States acquiring the Panama Canal and the Danish territory of Greenland, meant to bolster American strategic interests in the great competition with China. As for Greenland, an acquisition that massive would be larger than the 1803 Louisiana purchase, which nearly doubled the size of the U.S. then. Melting Arctic ice is opening up new shipping lanes in Greenland and competition for rare earth minerals there. Greenland is a self-governing, autonomous island within Denmark. Trump floated acquiring it his first term. Greenland's government rejected the idea then, and it does now. The Danish Prime Minister's office would only say that it is, quote, looking forward to working with the new administration.
等一下哦， So Elon wants the government to be responsible for reckless spending, but the president, the man that he helped get elected, seems really eager to花钱, like buying Greenland. So in a future-like scenario when the Republican-controlled House and Senate decide they want to slide in rioters and pork belly spending, we just might see a showdown between the real-life Iron Man and the old man Orange Captain America. So if you ask me, it's only a matter of time before Trump's red MAGA force squares off with Elon's red Mars force.
I told y'all niggas, y'all thought I was swearing, but I told y'all.
And then, right on America's birthday, Elon Musk officially launched his America Party. 各位观众，的美国烙赛真人秀第3季正式开始咯。On 这一季，钢铁人 vs 狂菊人。
Take a look at the oranges.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
He has no intention of speaking to the Tesla CEO.
It's very unclear now where this relationship is going to go.
Everyone who is in a relationship with Donald Trump, that relationship ends in tears. Humiliations, public firings, indictments.
This was quite the flex from the president, effectively able to oust the world's richest man.
He ousts everyone. It doesn't make any difference. It is a one-man show. That's not going to change.
On Elon Musk, do you plan to speak to him on the phone anytime soon?
I haven't really thought about it, actually.
And the key reason for their split? Well, exactly what we mentioned in that episode just 7 months ago. Money.
Last night he said if this insane spending bill passes, the America Party will be formed the next day. And just this morning, the bill passed the Senate. Now it's going to go to the House. And he says our country needs an alternative to the Democrat-Republican uniparty so that people actually have a voice. And he reposted Jesse, who said that I will be the first to join. This bill is sacrificing the prosperity of our children to feed old leeches who will never see the future they're condemning us to.
But the plot of a powerful billionaire criticizing government waste and forming his own party has actually played out before in American history.
History repeats itself. The budget should be balanced. The treasury should be refilled. Public debt should be reduced. The arrogance of public officials should be controlled. These are not new words. Cicero said these words over 2,000 years ago, but certainly they apply to our country today.
33 years ago, Ross Perot said these exact words, and they still apply today. And yes, 33 years ago, turns out the billionaire capitalist Perot did exactly what Elon Musk is doing right now.
I have lived the American dream. I came from a very modest background.
One of the wealthiest men in the country when he ran for president in 1992. H. Ross Perot bought his suits at Men's Warehouse and, as he showed Morley Safer on 60 Minutes, drove an 8-year-old Oldsmobile. The Texans' populist campaign lasered on stagnant wages and big government.
Best kept secret in America, 1,200 private jets worth $2 billion flying government officials around. Why can't they fly and act like we do? Okay, go to the airport, get in line, lose your luggage, eat a bad meal, have a taste of reality.
The political reality of 1992 was ripe for populism. Perot railed against the Gulf War and out-of-control spending.
You got to cut general spending by $315 billion, business tax increases of $49 billion.
And he actually did something very similar to Doge, gained massive support, and even ran for president. And at the time, nearly 19% of Americans voted for Ross Perot. But when it came to the Electoral College, he didn't win a single vote.
You lose! Good day, sir!
Now, Ross Perot made his fortune through information systems, and he made a shit ton of it. But Elon is a little bit different, because Elon doesn't just have money. He controls the future technology for the entire world.
And you can see that Elon responded to Farzad, who said that now that Trump's big, beautiful bill has passed, it passed both the House and the Senate, and now it's going to Trump's desk to be signed into law, the race is officially underway. The US will need to grow GDP by an average of 4 to 7% per year for the next 10 years to offset the spending in the bill. That's 10 years of GDP growing 4 to 7%. Without it, the deficit and debt will continue to increase. And the last time the US had 4% GDP growth was 2000. Either the US will have one of the greatest economic expansions in history, or we will continue our march towards certain bankruptcy. And Elon responds saying AI and robotics is the only way.
Let's take a close look at exactly what the real-life Iron Man owns. The most satellites in human history, the most powerful AI, and soon the entire robotics industry and brain chips. Elon has the power to build a nation and maybe even more than one's future industries. But here's the interesting part. If he believes robots and AI, both industries of which he controls, can offset the fiscal issues caused by Trump's policy, then why in the hell did he choose to break up with Trump?
Elon Musk says that he told his son to punch him in the face. Do you believe that? I mean, I don't have children, so I don't know. Can a 5-year-old punch you so hard that it bruises? Perhaps. Someone else said here, this is a black eye delivered by someone who can't throw a punch, and Stephen Miller's wife just left him for Elon Musk. Also, Stephen Miller is left-handed. Probably unrelated. So yeah, if you're right-handed and you're punching someone, you would hit them here. But if you're left-handed, you would hit... makes sense to me. I don't know. We're just saying.
Even before the whole black eye incident, there were reports that surfaced that Elon and Trump's cabinet member and Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent got in a very physical altercation that spilled out into the hallway of the White House. Essentially the political version of WWE.
This is what you need. This is what you need at the top. Or you don't necessarily need the manager to be the absolute best. I shouldn't say that, but like, they need to be able to recognize skill.
Yeah, and have good intuition that's laden with wisdom from all the battles of trying to reduce complexity in code bases.
I took a political approach at Comma too that I think is pretty interesting. I think Elon takes the same political approach. Google had no politics, and what ended up happening is the absolute worst kind of politics took over. Comma has an extreme amount of politics, and they're all mine, and no dissidence is tolerated.
So it's a dictatorship.
Yep. It's an absolute dictatorship, right? Elon does the same thing. Now, the thing about my dictatorship is here are my values.
Yeah, it's just transparent.
It's transparent. It's a transparent dictatorship, right? And you can choose to opt in or, you get free exit, right? That's the beauty of companies. If you don't like the dictatorship, you quit.
This is entirely imaginable. Politics is an industry of compromise to distribute power, and everything requires compromise. And with Elon, who is very unaccustomed to the concept of compromise, used to being a dictator in his companies and wielding absolute power, got his ass kicked in the White House without his bodyguards. Inevitable.
I don't think he is satiated his political desires by any means when he still talks about the influence of wokeness, the influence of progressive left on global politics. There is a certain element to Elon that he thinks he's the expert at everything, including global politics, and he's just going to get involved as he sees fit.
Now, there's one thing you can't deny, is that Elon has been very successful in a variety of areas. He has endured the pressure of SpaceX's near bankruptcy, owns a much bigger social platform than Trump, and has much better social media posting skills than the Orange Man. Not only that, he is a lot younger too. So I believe Elon's chances of forming a major third party in the US are very strong. And unlike those before him, Elon's party won't be a third party. In fact, it'll replace the Democratic Party.
That's a good thing, right?
The same DNC that propped up Kamehameha Harris, Obama, AOC, and Sleepy Joe. Because in the next chapter, once you see just how down bad the Democratic Party is right now, then you will realize that Elon Musk's political path will be extremely smooth. But as a result, Taiwan may be in a lot of deep shit. So, more爆米花 if you please, because 真的是代志大条。
Previous 4 elections, our elected officers are currently 2 male and 2 female. In order to be gender balanced, we must elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender. So again, this is what we have to do for this vice chair race. We have to elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any.
What are these retards talking about? Like, this is amazing. How can you be so fucking stupid? Bro, stuttering? Yeah, like it. Maybe he's realizing how dumb it is as he's reading it.
So, just 5 months ago, soon after Kamehameha Harris lost the election and the Democrats lost a shit ton of seats in the House and Senate, the Democratic Party decided that it was time for a new chair of the DNC. And after pushing out a couple of dudes who were already more than qualified, they settled on Jamie Harrison.
I think I can smell shite.
So imagine this. 2 political parties are recruiting members, and one chair is this guy, and the other is Elon Musk. Which party are you going to join?
Now, let's break down just how bad the Democrats' problem really is, because in last year's presidential election, the gender gap leapt to 13 percentage points nationally, up from 9 percentage points in 2020. Men's support for Kamala Harris dropped by 6 points, winning just 42% of men, the lowest on record in recent elections. Now, Sam's national survey found that just 27% of young men viewed the Democratic Party positively, while 43% of them viewed the Republican Party favorably. That gap became even more pronounced among 18 and 29-year-olds. Look, people get really mad when I say this, but you either want to know what went wrong or you don't. And if you don't want to know, like if you want to live in like magical thinking land and everything is great and Democrats aren't making any mistake, okay, stop listening right now. Okay, but for those of you who want the truth, Democrats can't stop telling men how much they hate them. That's a problem. Okay, not every man is carrying out toxic masculinity. They're not acting as though, not all of them certainly, are acting as though, you know, they're entitled to sex with any woman they want. Like these stereotypes that lump all men together and make them out to be bad guys is not healthy, it's not right, and it's not good politics, obviously.
The Democratic Party doesn't have a clue as to how and why it lost the majority of its male voters. These fools even wasted $20 million to research exactly why they lost them.
Not a great plan.
Meanwhile, the anti-woke Iron Man, Elon Musk, can attract a ton of male voters. Elon has a perfect target in 2 demographics: young right-wing Republican voters and left-leaning non-woke voters, potentially replacing the Democratic Party as America's 2nd largest political establishment. But if this happens, 我们台湾人代志大条.
You know, the fundamental thing here is really Taiwan. China has, well, really since for like half a century or so, maybe longer at this point, their policy has been to sort of reunite Taiwan with China. From this standpoint, you know, maybe it's analogous to like Hawaii or something like that, like an integral part of China that is arbitrarily not part of China, mostly because of the U.S. The U.S. Pacific Fleet has stopped any sort of reunification effort force. So now really things getting to the point increasingly year over year where China's military strength is increasing and ours is more or less static. And strategically, you know, you can imagine trying to defend Taiwan is not easy because it's very close to the coast of China. So there will come a point, if you know, probably not too distant future, where China's military strength in that region far exceeds U.S. military strength in that region.
So from this conversation, you can tell Elon does not like the idea of the U.S. helping to defend us, because it's too far away. Now imagine if Elon becomes the chair of America's 2nd largest party. What do you think his stance would be on U.S. policy towards Taiwan and China?
FBI Director Kash Patel has declassified documents that allege Chinese efforts to ship fake driver's licenses to the United States to let Chinese sympathizers cast fraudulent mail-in ballots for Joe Biden. Now, there's a new twist. Daily Mail reporting Director Patel uncovered proof showing former FBI Director Christopher Wray buried that report because it contradicted his testimony to Congress that China was not conducting foreign influence campaign in United States elections, saying in September 2020, quote, "We have not seen historically any kind of coordinated national voter fraud effort in a major election, whether it's by mail or otherwise."
The CCP's interference in U.S. elections ain't no secret. So when election time comes with the midterms, with this party chair, whose biggest factory is actually in China, whose EV battery materials come from China, and whose AI team is made up primarily of Chinese members, how exactly do you think the CCP is going to interfere?
Musk wants his own new political party, Trump is looking to deport him, and China has taken a side in this fight. China is backing Elon Musk. I know it sounds strange when you hear it. We are talking about one of the most tightly controlled states in the world, yet they are rooting for a chaos-loving billionaire. Beijing has turned him into something of a folk hero. Look at Weibo. Weibo is a Chinese social media platform. A new hashtag has gone viral on Weibo. It says hashtag Musk wants to build an America party. This is the hashtag. And this has over 37 million views on Weibo. And the comments are also positive. One user says there's a lot of potential for this new party. Another said, and I'm quoting, "Brother Musk, you've got over 1 billion people on our side backing you."
Now imagine this, come 2027, China actually makes good on that promise to invade Taiwan, and the United States Congress is left debating whether or not to declare war on the CCP and China as a whole. Well, the Elon party, holding key seats, believes Taiwan is too far and not in America's best interests, or rather, not in his company's best interests, and votes against it. This will be the CCP's wet dream scenario. Will it happen?
Maybe.
So, I'm predicting that something absolutely spectacularly bananas is about to happen in the United States. When someone with the greatest wealth in modern history, along with possessing the world's most advanced technology, starts pushing political power over the world's largest military, and happens to have a very tight relationship with another authoritarian regime, this becomes the most dangerous thing in the world. 台湾人小心烫哦.
Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe!
Now, for our sake, I hope this prophecy is completely, totally wrong. And that Elon, well, I hope that nigga can't replace the Democratic Party. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Remember, leave a comment down below and get some of this delicious kurakuko mochi flavor. 新宠功法爆米花, link down below, and I will see you on the flip side. Peace!